Oh, yeah, I'm tired. It's been a long one. What's up, folks? We are live for the HB Hose. Once again, I'm Matt, joined by my amazing panel, as always, of Geoff Ultraman and Paige for Betty, two of the baddest mofos on the internet.
Pew pew. I'll take that any day of the week. I don't know about Geoff, but
I don't know. I might not, but that's because I'm not a liar. So I like the layout that you have here, the HB Hose and Last of Us corner on that. Look at that. So cute. Good job.
We had it last show, you ho.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
I thought we had the real talk.
Nope, we had this.
Well, it's beautiful. It's stunning.
Look at this right now.
For those people who haven't tuned in, we kind of skipped last week because Geoff lives in Philly, and the NFC Championship was going on, and the Eagles won. So we just had to, live with it and just say, hey, let's skip it. Geoff is having some family over and all this. It's just not worth it. We all like talking together. That's just how it is.
Yeah. What happened was my mom and brother came in from Ohio and met up with my dad, and then they all went to the game. I don't know what they paid, but they got tickets that week, and they made their way. They got there, and they tailgated with everyone, and then the Eagles won, and then they came back, and it was very obvious they had a good time.
I mean, hey, when is this ever going to happen again? So you guys deserve every right to celebrate.
They have a young QB. It could happen quite a few more times.
They got a crazy team in general.
Yes.
I mean, now we know. I mean, like, just think about it though. Next weekend, there might not be a show because I might not be on anything because who knows? I might be dead next weekend because this whole city might burn.
Well, let's discuss real quick for those that don't know that
next
episode,
Go ahead, Paige.
Next week's episode is going to be premiering on Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Strictly on HBO Max. On HBO Max.
Wait a second.
Yeah,
so
Showtime has done this before. Yeah.
Yeah. So just for the heads up, does this show on HBO and HBO Max?
Yes.
I don't have cable, so I just have all streaming.
Most people don't nowadays.
Like a lot of this is one of those weird things with HBO where the channel has things and then the streaming service has everything the channel has at the moment the channel has it available, like how Last of Us is available at 9 p.m. like that sort of thing.
Okay.
But then it also has its own exclusive stuff. Like how Peacock is owned by NBC, so all of NBC stuff is on Peacock, but Poker Face is only on Peacock. Yeah. It's weird. It's very odd. It's like a company having two different distributions of its own product.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're not gonna get into that.
Yes, but real quick, just like the Penguin, maybe exclusively HBO Max, even though it's Anyways,
whatever. I have HBO Max. I'm good.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's talk about real quick. Let's talk about what was arguably one of the greatest episodes of premium access television last weekend, in episode 3 of The Last of Us. Because wow, not what people expected, and there's been sadly blowback because they decided to represent an LGBT couple, which I think was the right choice, especially. Just from reading, like I still haven't watched gameplay or anything like that. I know you just played it. Paige has watched it. Just reading, it was heavily hinted at that it was a relationship between two men in the game.
Can I just first say this was like the most beautiful, like literally the most beautiful, epic love story within an apocalypse, like ever told. This thing was bold, beautiful, intimate. I just loved every second of it. And now, Geoff, talk about what occurs in the game, because that's actually very different than what we get to see. And so this was them taking the approach of doing something different that worked.
Beautiful. This episode also, considering how expensive the show is, Episode 3 being almost entirely just them sitting around in this house and, in just outside, just sitting and talking for the majority of it. What a great way to tell an incredible story and save your budget for some of the other bigger episodes.
Although you did have to build that entire mini city compound.
It's just a neighborhood. They
might be back there. I have a feeling they could go back to there at some point.
I don't think so.
No.
But
if it goes based
in the
on
game,
it's not likely to happen.
In the game, Bill is, I believe, he's really mad about, he's really upset. Never liked Joel, and they meet him in the city or something. It's been a bit since I played, and they stumble upon, and it turns out the reason why he's mad was because Frank had killed himself, and they were arguing before he had done that. So when they stumble upon the body, he references, this was my Frank was my partner. That's what they say. They don't say lover or anything. They just say partner. And then there's a magazine gag too that was replicated in episode 4 of, why are the gay porn magazine? And it's like, why are the pages sticky? That is
why I immediately thought of Paige.
And one thing that's so good is how that was in the game. It was just sort of a cast off. Frank is just a corpse. You never actually meet him.
Yeah.
And it's just almost like, it's a gay man that's dead, that in order to affect the narrative for these other characters. So it's almost like a weird, casual bury your gaze type trope. However,
Well, no, finish what you're gonna say.
I was gonna say the game. Yeah, I was gonna say, but the show turns it on its head, and I know a friend of ours, John Lastrana, he's mentioned it too. The person mentioned it. This was a happy episode. This was the opposite of a bury your gaze. This was the opposite of anything like that. It is just this tender love story over the course of 20 years. And to some, it felt like it removed stuff that they preferred in the game, because there was some great interplay between Ellie and Bill in the game, and that's all gone here. But instead, we get this, not a episode, because it's not just in a single location, but this very small character episode that still has great ramifications and moves the story forward. People seem to be missing it, those who are criticizing it. It absolutely moves the story forward without even doing a whole lot, and it's so interesting. The writing is so good. The acting, Murray Bartlett, recent Emmy winner for playing the hotel manager in the first season of White Lotus. He's great as Frank. But
both of them, Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett, both deserve Emmys just for that fucking performance.
Nick Offerman just played gay Ron Swanson, and I was there for it.
That's what everyone's been saying. I did see that, but it just, to me, it was it did move the story forward, because especially that letter at the end, the letter that Bill left for Joel, that was the whole that was the whole point. We are here for a reason. We're here to protect those that can't protect themselves, pretty much. We need to protect our loved ones. And
this is a reminder. This is a reminder. He's failed 2 times now.
Yes.
See it in his face. Joel's failed 2 times now to protect the person that he cared about the most.
Yeah.
With his daughter and then Tess. Yeah.
And I do want to throw in that also in the game, essentially Bill's whole part is just helping them get a car together, like a car battery.
Yes.
And
exactly.
then you just leave him, and that's it. And he doesn't even come back in part 2. It's just that singular moment. So if you can do the same thing in a show, but actually give background on that character, which is from what I've read, that's what fans were always wondering, what's Bill's thing? What I want to know more about Bill. Apparently, people weren't happy about it. Some people weren't happy about it, given what we got. As someone who never played the game or watched the game and is going based off of research,
I think I thought it was phenomenal what they were able to execute with that episode, because also like in the game, Frank just kills himself because he couldn't stand to be with Bill anymore. Like he couldn't.
Yeah,
Like they just, like, couldn't. Yeah, they just like they couldn't like bear each other anymore. And in this, it was just like a beautiful love story of like them coming to terms of like, you're the one I want to be with. You make me like, they were both so different, but like coming together, like they became one. And that's why it was just like such a it's just so beautiful. I loved every second of it. If you didn't shed a tear last episode, then you don't have a fucking soul.
I mean, I don't cry at things, so I didn't.
I don't have a soul, but I didn't shed a tear. But I loved the episode.
So I know others have said it, so I might be sort of regurgitating, like combining what a lot of people have said. But you know, it stands. You know, it's important to mention, like for Bill, this. You know, he's obviously in like a conservative. He grows up conservative. I mean, he screams about how the government are all Nazis, which is very funny to think. Like, I mean, this is a man who he was a survivalist, a conspiracy theorist, basically. And it's like, well, what if you end up being proven right? But you notice it sounds like he's a virgin from the sounds of it. Like for at least for sure, he's been inside, buried in the basement, watching from behind a screen, not actually participating or getting to go out and do what he wants. Really, it takes the world ending for him to be able to actually, literally come out of the house in life, like, and just actually be able to live. The world had to die so that this man could live. And it's, you know, it's obviously a very sad thing to think about, that's what had to happen. But at the same time, then you get to see a life without judgment of just someone who, by the way, at that age too, an older man, not just like a guy in his like 20s or something, like someone who at a time where it would be much more difficult, at least in 2003, for that to just, come out. I don't know. It's really profound in ways that are really affecting.
I do want to say though, also, like, my favorite line in that whole episode was pretty much like, from Bill saying like, I wasn't afraid until you came along, because like that's what this whole like series is about. It's about like protecting your loved ones and being that like guardian, and just like trying to make a better life for yourself and for those around you. And that's why I was just like, it's just so good. I can't.
Then there's, of course, another quote a lot of people would use. I mean, it's the one to justify why he ended up taking the Vicodin with him, or why he also took the Vicodin. What he said, I'm old, I'm satisfied, and you were my purpose.
Exactly.
I mean, it ties into what I said. Like, it took everything to end for him to be able to actually be who he was. And if someone that was a part of that was going to be gone, he had nothing else to do anymore. I mean, that's a gorgeous love story, and it's tragic. It's sad, but it's sad because they're gone, not because of even necessarily how they went, because that's beautiful. And I love that they were restrained enough in their filmmaking that the final shot is through the window, but you never see their bodies, because that's not how we as the audience should see them. We should see
that's
them
why we don't want to remember
as they
them.
were.
Exactly.
Yeah, together. That's really good filmmaking.
Yes,
really
no,
good.
I completely agree. It's just,
it was an entire episode of show not tell, and that's what I love. that's you hear it all the time. Whether you're writing, whether you're filmmaking, you sometimes people say, I wish the filmmaker would show us, not tell us. And because we're doing a television show, we can show, not tell, and expand this world even further than everyone had already seen it. And I personally love the episode. I've been getting on people who have been like, oh, this is just the woke agenda. It's like, no, this is a real story. Like, I've had to do I had somebody who I know personally go just put on Facebook like, really, The Last of Us episode 3, you had to do that. I'm like, do what? He's like, did you watch the episode? If so, you know what I mean. I'm like, you mean have a same-sex love story? Those are real. That's real life.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, like it's just people that don't. We don't need to dive into that.
Exactly.
But it's just people that don't like that in general because they're already bigoted in those ways. Just having another instance to be able to complain because all they care about is participating in outrage culture about things that you shouldn't be outraged about. Like, it's okay. You're still going to have a gas stove. Shut the fuck up. So.
Exactly.
Anyways,
do you guys
it's a great
have any
episode.
other thoughts? Yeah, do you guys have any other thoughts about episode 3?
No,
besides, we get to see Ellie get into like her actual like outfit that we see her like in the game and stuff. So that was pretty cool, and it was all from Bill and Frank's house. Yep, same with Joel. Exactly.
I mean, we got to see a clicker up close with the makeup, and just the effects work so good.
I loved the slicing of the head and being able to see inside of it a little bit. And you could see all the
stunning episode. We all agree it helped the story move forward, and it's hands down one of the best episodes to ever air on
television.
TV.
Yes,
ever. Like,
I definitely want to agree with that. Obviously, I think it's also recency bias of how much love towards it to say that.
I completely
as time
agree.
goes on, it'll be canonized as such. But
it definitely is like
really
the greatest.
Like, it is
like love apocalyptic like story. Like we've gotten at least thus far.
It's something where there's great interplay between Bill and Ellie in the game. The overall function, though, narratively, this was somewhere that they were able to improve on it.
Exactly.
Yes. Just like, and this is how we're going to transition to episode 4 now, how they were able to improve on narratively the Monty. Okay, Pat, I will stop being a buzzkill. No, how they were able to improve upon in Kansas City. It used to be Pittsburgh. They changed city because it doesn't matter in a post-apocalyptic landscape. Every city is going to be the same. But they're able to improve upon all these hunters going after them because the game didn't have one central figure that was leading them. They didn't have one person to be the face of it to be able to communicate to the audience and connect with. And that's where Melanie Linsky comes in here as an original character.
And also the guy that played Tommy is Harry.
Yes, and Tommy from the game is playing her right-hand man. Something Pearson. Yeah, it's what's his name? God damn it.
It's not Guy.
What they're able to add, and that's the thing. That's how you
Jeffrey Pierce.
Yes. And that's just like this is how you adapt something. Like when to take liberties of striking kind of when the iron's hot and what you can change, what is better for storytelling standpoint. Through television, and this show just knows how to do it thus far. Honestly, every episode has landed for me, and like one of my favorite things is that they incorporated from the game was the joke book that we got in this episode, and like that was like one of my pretty much like the final scene when like what did she say? Did you know that diarrhea is hereditary because it runs in your genes?
Runs in your genes. Like,
seeing Joel like smile, I think that was like honestly like the first time we've seen
everyone that's in love with Pedro Pascal, getting to see him do that little smirk and then giggle. It made all their little hearts flutter.
It definitely made mine.
the day after he kills it on SNL too.
I know Paulina. She was like,
Yeah. He just, oh my god! But this episode, we really get to see Joel and Ellie like beginning to like form as a team, and at least especially see like Joel opening up to her a lot more, which is I mean, this is just the beginning because he's on this journey with, like, they're on this journey together. Like, I
Mhm.
know in the beginning of the episode he calls her cargo, but in the end she isn't.
Right.
Mhm.
And I just,
He doesn't want to connect to someone else because connections get you killed.
exactly.
And I love how she's
Yeah.
even picking up on all of his little intricacies. Like, she's like, "Yeah, are you sure you're going to be able to hear? Because I've noticed you don't hear well from your right side."
Which is something they didn't really address in the game, from what I recall. This was something that I think they wanted to do. It's not. I guess maybe at the time they weren't able to figure out how to weave that in narratively. I don't really remember the exact context. I'd have to look up. But so that's something they've added to change Joel from the video game to the show. Is he's a little partially deaf in one ear. So, I mean, you know,
could it be from being shot at or shooting? Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, he straight up said, he's like, "No, it's from shooting. It's from all those years of shooting."
But you also see, though,
think
too,
about
in
it,
this episode, when they're getting ransacked in the city in Kansas City. I mean, Geoff and I were literally talking about this before we went live. Like, them going, like, and Ellie doing what she does. Like, you begin to realize her and Joel are so much more alike. And I don't know, Geoff, if you kind of want to touch upon, or Matt, if you guys want to touch upon, like, that scene, because for me, at least, like, it really does show, like, they really are the same person.
Yeah.
And it's very intriguing to see this from a 56-year-old man and a 14-year-old girl being the same person, but they really are.
Yeah, the post-show, like, interviews they have with cast members or the creators, they talked about this, and it was something that was very obvious in the show too, but they were able to kind of, like, just, you know, say it out loud. Where with that act of violence there, I mean, Ellie comes out there and she, you know, she's able to save him. She says that she's been around stuff before, but she really hasn't. Not really, except she hasn't been around as much as you might think or whatever, based on how she talks about it, because she's only 14. But here she's only seen Joel be like a guy, like, helping. She hasn't seen him do such ugly acts of violence like this, other than that punching of the guard. But that was like in a fight or flight thing. Now it's just her. She doesn't have Tess to, like, hide her. So, and the only way to save him is to do something equally ugly with hurting this man. And it wasn't, she didn't kill him, but she crippled him with one shot. And then she leaves and she cries, but she immediately wipes it away and is just acting like she's done, like she doesn't affect her anymore. Joel could have consoled her about it. He didn't. They both just have to move on. So yeah, they're what Craig Mazin said was they're exactly the same. I think it's interesting how they're making sure to kind of play that up, so that way it both reinforces Joel while it you know, adds to Ellie's whole character arc, where she's a kid, but she's acting just like this, you know, battle hardened, for lack of a better term, this veteran of the post-apocalyptic society.
And I think Joel is also starting to realize, at least especially with this episode, like, he, like, feels like he's putting up with so much shit just, like, help Ellie. But, like, at the end of this episode, he realized, like, she is just a kid, and that she shouldn't have to be going through all of this, but she is. And so it's kind of nice that he's starting to feel like a father figure to her in a sense. So it'll be interesting to see, like, that dynamic grow between them, because I think she's also opening up so much more to him as well. Like, even though she didn't want to talk about when the other time she has shot someone or killed someone, like, using an act of violence, but, like, you can see, like, they're starting to get there with each other. Like, even if it's just baby steps, like, they are warming up to each other. And I think it's so crazy to see that we're almost halfway through the season now. And I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but time will tell what happens at the end. So it's just, like, crazy that
also, like I mentioned, Melanie Lindsay, she's always great. She's so good.
Yes, Yellow
and
Jacket.
she is one of the best actors working today to be able to cover up the fact that they are not from America. She is very much from New Zealand.
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry. I've been doing a 2.5 Men rewatch, so that's so hard.
Yep.
Is Melanie Linsky on 2.5 Men?
Yeah, she's Rose the Crazy Stalker in
I
2.5
never
Men. That's where
watched
she blew
2.5
up. That's where
I've
she
never
blew
watched
up.
2.5 Men.
Well, you guys should watch Yellow
I mean,
Jackets.
she had like 90s indie stuff that really got her.
I know. I'm just saying it. That's where she.
Yeah, no, she's been in a bunch of stuff. She's very
became
underrated.
She's been in a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She was in Coyote Ugly and Heavenly Creatures and stuff. She's been in a bunch of things. I just didn't realize that she was on 2.5 Men because I don't watch 2.5 Men. So.
But yeah, no, she's outstanding with every. She's really good at owning the floor when, like, even if she doesn't have much to do to shine, like she always owns it when she's on screen. And I mean, it's nice to kind of see her finally in like Yellow Jackets having a leading role, and so it's pretty cool to see her in this playing a completely different character, but still like owning that shit. And now we're seeing that she's. I don't even know what these people are because they're not Fireflies, but they're not Fedra. They're just the people. That's kind of what it said on their cars. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's just some sort of revolutionaries. I'm saying that revolutionaries is sort of what they are. They're all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Paulina reminded me she was in Candy last year. It was a 5-episode miniseries with Jessica Biel about Candy who killed her friend, played by Melanie Linsky. It's also being turned into like another mini-series or limited series, but on HBO Max with Elizabeth Olsen and Pablo a bunch of other people. Yep. Same story, 2 different series. But Melanie Linsky is so good. This show, another great casting choice. And
we got to see the
I am
Tom
very interested to see the effects outside of these brief snippets from trailers of what the bigger infected are going to look like. Because so far in these little shots, they look great, but I want to see them in more full.
Yeah, I want to see them like in motion, like we're coming at you. Like, it's interesting too because
we only have 5 episodes left, right?
What'd you say?
Yes,
we only have 5 episodes left, right?
Yeah, we only have 5 episodes left. It's a 9-episode season,
so we're going to be hitting it hot and heavy then.
Well, next episode looks like shit's about to go down. So it's interesting to see that, like, Melanie Linsky and Perry, because I can't think of what the actor's name is, who plays Tommy in the game, are part of the game.
Jeff
like, they're added characters.
Or Jeffrey Pierce.
So it's interesting to see, like, what part they're going to have.
No, Tommy's Pedro's brother. So
No, I know, but he plays
No, in the game. The guy who played Perry the guy who played Perry in the game. He actually was the actor for. Did you know that this was based in a game? So they have some actors that are just
Kiss my black
ass. It's okay if you don't, because it's amazing if you do. It's so cool to see so many people. I know I'm kind of going on a tangent real quick, though, to see so many different people watching this show. That some that are like diehard, like, game players, and then you have others like me that just like really was intrigued with like the storyline and watched the gameplay because obviously I love like storytelling, so I had to and I suck at video games, so I sat there and watched the gameplay. And it's others that are going in completely fresh and don't know anything about it. It's just so fascinating.
I'm very excited because next week we get to see what a bloater looks like in the show. That's just
God,
yes,
that's all Jeff cares.
Oh yeah, John. Yeah, John's right. His voice is the same as Tommy's from the game. Yeah, did you know that?
But fun fact, though, I mean, not fun fact. Tommy is Henry and the son Sam in the game? They're definitely in the game, right?
They're definitely in the game.
Okay, I just I don't really remember that part.
That is. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun week. It's gonna be a fun next episode.
Yeah, next week it looks like shit's about to go down. This I don't know, Matt, Jeff, you kind of said it earlier. It is somewhat of a bridge episode, but it still moves the story forward.
It's a very much a character development episode.
Yeah, it's one that it connects them. It's since the whole Last of Us. I mean, one other way to kind of put it is it's a road trip story too. It's a road trip because they're literally traveling across the country like that. The joke.
Yes,
book,
we touched on the joke
diarrhea.
book.
And the porn,
have
which as I brought up
diarrhea.
earlier too, that was in the game. Yeah. This is his reaction to Sam and Henry next week. I don't want it. Yeah. It's gonna be a lot. And just oh my god, there was something I was gonna say and I forgot because I wanted to acknowledge John's things. I'll remember it at some point probably.
What about you, Matt? What did you think of this week's episode?
I enjoyed it. Go ahead, Geoff.
No, now I remembered what I was going to say, but I didn't want to interrupt because you were talking.
I didn't even start. Go ahead, because you were
okay. Oh no, I was going to say it is a bridge one it's building up character stuff that's important that needs to be done while they're still moving, but it's also setting up new conflict that is going to pay off next week and the week after or whatever. It's even though it seems like not a lot happened. A lot has happened. They're in a new location. They have new people that are their enemies, and they don't even know who those people are. The Sam and Henry thing is very big, so it's going to be a lot. This is very important. Everything about this,
we're seeing
especially the violence development, as we talked about. Like that's really crucial for Ellie.
Yeah, that it is because I don't know if people saw The Last of Us too. Yeah, it definitely is. It's getting the groundwork moving for Ellie and also seeing the dynamic between her and Joel grow and develop their relationship.
Yeah. But Paige, to answer your question, to me, I think this has probably been the weakest episode out just in terms of being able to keep someone engaged. I still love the character development side of it, but this was the one I found myself being able to check out on while I was on my phone and be on my phone a little bit and still pick up on everything that was going on.
No, I definitely get that. And I mean, think about it. The other 3 episodes we've gotten are fucking phenomenal. And if this is the weakest episode out of the whole series, it's still a fucking great episode. So I'm totally okay with that. It wasn't a bad episode by any means.
It's still a great episode. It's just
yeah.
It's in trying to compare. That's where it's oh yeah, it's great. But to any other normal television show, the fact is the first 3 episodes are all sorts of big,
fucking spectacular, right?
Nothing gigantic happened in this episode. Just the first bit of violence for Ellie.
Yeah,
but she's seen other violence. It's just her participating in violence. Otherwise, it's a building episode.
Oh, without a doubt.
And those are necessary in narrative function. It functions. There's a reason why. That's why television's shows are multiple installments. They can't all be giant events. You have to have these bridges in between to get you
exactly. Got to grow and carry the story one way or another. And this is how you start laying the groundwork for it. So,
just like last week's episode was important for a very similar reason.
Yes, that was.
I'm sorry.
It's so good.
I'm at the point where I'm getting tired of people's lack of media literacy.
Oh, people just watch and they just don't get it. And
media literacy is dead.
I know, but if they don't get what they want in an episode of a show, it's automatically filler nowadays.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But you know what? You go fucking be a TV a creator on a show, or the shit is hard to do. There's a groundwork that has to be laid out to get the success and the praise that they do, and everything they've done so far, The Last of Us has done it phenomenally well. So
I agree. I love The Last of Us. I love The Last of Us Part 2. It's just
which story? Which one do you like more, Part 1 or Part 2?
Ooh.
You don't get into any spoilers, so don't get into any spoilers.
I can say exactly which one and why. I think that as much as I absolutely adore The Last of Us as one of my all-time favorite games, I think The Last of Us Part 2 is actually a little better. And it's because it is better to me because it's bigger and more complex. The story and the beats in there are there are far more intricacies and surprises and shocks and things that make you question why you're even participating in this. It's just really good. It's an indictment of the actual player as well, and it's this incredible deep dive into nihilism and violence for the sake of violence and what and consequences. And it's yeah, and also that it's also like an indictment of capitalism. It's messy. It's messy and it's
in a good way,
and it's ambitious. Yes. It's messy. It makes you feel messy. It makes you feel sick when you play it. But I don't know how else to describe it. If you haven't played it, you absolutely should. Paige, if you're not going to play it, just watch the main run.
Oh, I've watched it. Yeah, I know what happens. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you agree with me or not then from watching.
No, I definitely do. I think it's very hardcore compared to what we get, I'd say, in part 1.
Last of Us is brutal. Last of Us Part 2 takes brutality to a whole other level that is rarely seen in any form of media, I think.
Yeah. It's pretty much to the point that you don't have to worry about the clickers anymore. It's just like humanity itself. Like how fucked up people are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, though, overall thoughts though on the episode, though, guys?
Still solid. Still great premiere television. No real complaints other than low stakes in this.
You could tell.
That's fine when I get kids.
You could tell that. Yeah. You could tell that it wasn't like supposed to be a really complex episode. This, I believe, is the shortest of them so far. This one was 50 minutes with the credits and everything on it. So that was like a 45, 40.
It was 40.
Yeah. It's 45 minutes total. So with everything else, it was probably like 40 minutes.
Yeah, so
I was shocked.
It did what it needed to do for its bridge.
Because when Paige went in our group chat, I was shocked because when Paige went in the group chat, was like, "Yeah, I'm ready whenever." I'm like, I clicked up. I'm like, "There's still like 15 minutes episode left in this. 15 minutes left in this episode. What's she talking about?" 5 minutes later, I'm like, "Yep, no, I'm ready."
It was a quickie.
Yeah,
but it was a goodie.
I love it.
Hey,
I can't wait for Friday when this one drops because the Super Bowl is Sunday, guys. So,
well, I'm curious if they're gonna. I'm curious. What do you? Okay, before we go, what do you guys think they're gonna do for the Oscars? Because season finale is on the same night as the Oscars, but I don't see them moving their season finale to a Friday.
I can see them doing that.
I think they're gonna do it anyway because the Oscars have had very waning ratings every year.
Yep.
So
I mean,
they're not worried about it.
And for the record, Breaking Bad in its final run of episodes, I believe, the Emmys aired the same time as one of the last episodes of Breaking Bad. So yeah, I mean, I have tickets. I have a ticket to go to like the Film Center's Oscars like event. Like you get dressed up in like cocktail attire and go.
Yeah, we might have to do the episode just that's very fancy. I like that. Yeah, maybe we'll do our final episode on maybe Monday. Just so.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that because we talked about doing the Oscars a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. What else? What else?
Yes, Listrina, and there will be a Fast X trailer reaction on this channel this Friday, February 10th, as long as it drops at noon. So be sure to check that out.
Oh, it's dropping before the Super Bowl?
Yep, that's what a lot of
the full one is, and they're going to probably have like a 30-second clip.
Yeah, true, because those Super Bowl ads
They can't do a 2.5. They can't do a 2.5 one.
Yeah,
and
you can't
also the
afford that
last.
shit.
I think the first trailer was like 18 minutes long. No, it was like 3.5. It was like 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, this is crazy
Yeah,
that we're
so-
getting the next episode literally in like 6 days, 5 days.
5 days.
That makes me really happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there we go. And I think that's it. Let's go. We don't need to vamp anymore.
We don't need to vamp. But with that, folks, signing off from the HB Hose, I'm Matt. That is Geoff Alterman and the Boston Badass herself, Paige for Betty. Maybe we'll see you next Friday or Saturday. Depends on schedule. If not, we'll do another back-to-back episode the following Sunday because we're all going to relax, enjoy the Super Bowl, and do stupid shit. So until then, be sure to follow everything we do over here at Watt Real Entertainment. Like, subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff. And we will see you next time. Peace.